Buff Nation, what is going on? What is another day without this team being in the news? Am I right? Man, we got Van Wells transferring out, hitting that portal. We got Nick Williams, who I don't know if this is official yet, but I'm assuming is going to be the defensive coordinator at Syracuse, working with another Georgia coach, Fran Brown. We're going to get into talking about this. This will be a little bit shorter of a live stream. But man, this is interesting stuff. This isn't ideal news, and it's going to be interesting to see how Coach Prime moves forward with this. I'm sure he's known that a promotion for Nick Williams was coming, and I'm sure he's got some different guys that he's looking at trying to get in here. It's going to be very interesting to see what he, Corey Phillips, and Rick George end up doing. So y'all let me know what your thoughts are in the chat. I'll get to your comments here in just a few minutes. Let me drink some coffee first. Also, guys, I got this standing desk for my birthday, and it's so cool. It like moves. So you might see my camera position start changing a little bit. But anyways, guys, this is not ideal for our recruits. Nick Williams, like I have said, is worth his weight in gold because right now he's our only proven strong recruiter. And man, oh man, I mean, it's nice that we had Draylon Miller, Jac'quan McRoy, that big offensive lineman that Steve was telling us about yesterday. They visited yesterday. And I think King Joseph Edwards ended up moving or canceling his official visit this weekend, if I remember correctly. And I mean, Nick Williams, man, this is a big deal because we have guys like Cameron Michael from Statesboro. We have Montre Bradford, another Statesboro guy, his cousin, Cameron Michael's cousin. I mean, this is a guy that will play both ways. Cameron Michael, Montre Bradford, and edge. King Joseph Edwards, a guy who can play both sides of the ball, who's just a force at the linebacker edge position. Brandon Davis Swain, big-time defensive line commitment here. And then we talk about the Valdosta boys, Omar White, as well as Eric Brantley. These are a ton of defensive commitments that we have in our front seven. And that's what I've been most excited about this 24 class for. Is that, okay, it's not the biggest size right now, but we got like 5 guys that are coming in here, 6 guys that are coming in here with the assumed commitment of King Joseph Edwards. That, man, these guys, they are going to drastically change our front seven for years to come. I don't know where all these guys stand now with Nick Williams leaving. Now, I guess before I'll go down this path a little bit further, I want to say, hey, you come to Colorado, you come work for Coach Prime, right? You're going to find yourself a promotion, okay? We're going to make head coaches. I mean, Sean Lewis, of course, it didn't work out ideal here, but he's now head coach at San Diego State, making significantly more money than he was at Kent State. Excuse me, rather. Now at a much better G5 program. We got Nick Williams moving up to a defensive coordinator position. Best of luck to him. I mean, Syracuse, New York is not Boulder, Colorado, but I mean, he is a gem of a recruiter. We'll see how he calls this defense at Syracuse. I mean, man, I know hindsight's always 20/20, right? But I would have loved to keep Nick Williams. He was one of the most important staff members I thought for us to keep because of how strong of a recruiter he is. I think Rawhide mentioned earlier today when I caught a few minutes of his reaction to this. He's like, why didn't we just make him an assistant head coach? Maybe take that away from Flea, have him do it. Heck, I would have said, hey, why not just make him defensive coordinator? I know that's not ideal, switching coordinators after 1 year and on both sides of the ball. But, man, this one hurts, guys. This one hurts. And this is a concerning day. That's how I feel about it. But I do have confidence that Coach Prime and the rest of the program, they're going to find somebody that's going to be a really interesting hire. I mean, I'm hoping that we will see us continue to gain some momentum with recruiting. We'll be able to poach some coaches from some larger programs to come out here, or for some blue blood programs to get that next position, take that next step in their careers over here. We're just going to have to see how this goes. But I would expect, guys, for some of the commits that we have on our defensive side right now for 2024 to follow Nick Williams to Syracuse or wherever he's going. So, and lastly, Van Wells, I guess I kind of feel indifferent about this. I think that honestly, Van Wells was our best offensive lineman this year, maybe the best of a really bad bunch, honestly. But I was really hoping that he would stick around, depending on who we bring in as offensive line coach, to see him to continue to develop. I probably noticed Van Wells the least amount this year on the offensive line, which is probably a good thing. I don't ever really remember him being penalized very often or anything like that. But I mean, this is a huge deal, but I think it's probably the case right now that we're going to have a brand new starting offensive line from this past year. Of course, we got Tyler Brown, we got David Connor. We'll have to see who else we bring in. So this is going to be very interesting. I look forward to seeing where Coach Prime brings in these new coaches and assistants from. I guess that's kind of the next step. We're waiting for Bill O'Boyle's official announcement for him to leave. We're waiting for the offensive coordinator position. Now we're trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do at the edge position? Is Warren Sapp going to coach the edge? He didn't play edge. So where do we go from here, guys? I'll take your questions now. All right. The Gloom and Doomfest, let me guess, Rawhide and his band of haters will spend 6 hours dragging Prime over this too without knowing the facts. I guess what I'm trying to say is, you can't judge it until we see who is hired to replace it. At the end of the day, Nick Williams, I don't think that this is something I would be way more concerned for, like the state of the program, rather, if Nick Williams left for like the same position, right? But he's leaving to be elevated, so I don't think there's much concern around like, is the culture bad? This is why coaches are leaving or anything. I'm not saying that. No. But at the end of the day, Nick Williams is a huge loss recruiting wise, especially. And we got a lot of work to do to make up for that. So we'll see where we go. Dancy moving into the role. That would be interesting. Follow the kids' recruitments. King Joseph cancels his visit. Yes. Put Syracuse in his top 3. Williams leaving. See, Chris McRae, you're connecting all the dots. We probably will lose a few guys to Syracuse, which sucks. But it is what it is. This is part of the game. I liked Williams too. Again, congratulations to him. This is a big deal for him. Yeah, but we got a lot of work to do. Again, I'm not expecting this high school class to be massive by any means. I'm thinking like 15 to 17 guys. That's just kind of how I've been thinking about it. But we got a lot of commits to get to that number, especially if we lose a few more. But as I was talking with Steve yesterday, we're not going to know what's going on with these commitments or flips probably until the day before early signing day or right on early signing day. I love CC. Good to see you. Oh, hey, what a wonderful day. Orchid should have died. God, don't like ugly. Hashtag karma. Man, what a game yesterday, right? And Dan Lanning, man, 0-3 against rival Washington. I know Duck fans are not happy about that one. And man, they really came out the gate soft. Let's just talk, Washington, man, for being talked about as a team with as not good as a defense, for not peaking. Again, I thought Oregon was going to win that game, and boy, was I wrong. Steve was right on that. Steve was right on that. Congrats to Washington. Congrats to Michael Penix. Man, heart goes out to some of my Duck fans that I follow. I don't have an issue with Ducks fans, y'all. And honestly, I like how Dan Lanning, I think he's a really good coach. He's just a very punchable, good old boy. And I didn't have any problems with the results last night. I'll say that much. Bodie, what's up, man? Good to see you guys. Glad Tank and Wells are gone. They sucked. Hey, at the end of the day, can it get worse? Can it get any worse? I mean, it can't get any worse, right? Right? The ship is starting to take in water. The big experiment is a bust. Hey, what is a journey without some adversity, right? And this is something a lot of staffs have to deal with at big time programs is the turnover. Now we have to see how we're going to respond. How's Coach Prime, Corey Phillips, all these guys, who we're going to bring in to replace? Again, going back to last year, what I've said was I feel like Coach Prime's network is very vast. It's very deep. He is very connected. I'm not too worried about him finding guys to replace coaches that leave. Now, do I have a little bit more concern just because it's like, man, the Sean Lewis thing didn't work out? But like I said, not every hire is going to hit. That's just what happens. But at the end of the day, we can't judge this until we see how we respond. And again, Coach Prime, Corey Phillips, Rick George, these guys have an understanding of what they're doing. It isn't like I'm running this thing and Nick Williams is gone and he was my only connection, But hey, user P101 top. What a name, by the way. Also saying, hey, this could just be speculation like the Nebraska coach. If he doesn't leave, then wonderful. But I imagine with this guy coming out here, who was it? Was it Pete Thamel? It was somebody of big time reputation that was saying that he's out of here. But not that he's fired. He's just getting elevated. So I'd say more than likely it's happening. But again, we had that 24/7 beat writer for UCLA saying that Chip Kelly was getting fired. And he might have saved his job with that USC blowout. What's up, y'all? Yeah, good for Nick. But man, as a Buffs fan, I'm not feeling this either, KG. This sucks. This sucks. A lot of the guys that I was most excited about in this class were recruited by Nick Williams. Again, he was worth our weight in gold with how many guys he's gotten to commit or the type of quality of guy that he's gotten to commit to CU. This blows. This blows. We'll see. Are we going to bring over some more guys from LSU? That's my hope. Corey Phillips, get that phone working. But Alfaru, you're right. We can't sugarcoat this anyway. Today's a blow. Today is absolutely a blow. But we got to give this thing a little bit of time. And I'm glad that we know right now as opposed to him leaving right before signing day. We at least have 3 weeks, right? To get a plan together, to get this thing going, make up the ground that we need to make up, and still get guys coming here in 24. But trust me, guys, I'm sure he's known about this for a little while. I'm sure things are set in motion. I'm sure they're interviewing. I'm sure they're contacting people. It's going to get interesting, fellas. Man, there is not one day of just chill news in this with this team and this coach, right? But yeah, I'm expecting that Cam, King Joseph, Amontre Bradford, all those guys are gone. I'm hoping that we keep the Valdosta boys. But I don't think Nick Williams is leaving because Warren Sapp is coming. Again, I would imagine Coach Sapp would work with the interior line, kind of like what Sal Sinceri is doing. And I'm not sure how their roles will change, if Sal's role will change at all. But I think Nick Williams is leaving because he's getting elevated. Why is Prime in Dallas with the CU boat sinking fast? Oh, good Lord, Tim Batch. Come on now, man. You gotta think a little bit past that. Okay. He's got a promotion with Amazon. He's got a show coming out next week. That's also on Amazon. Thursday night Cowboys game. He's there to promote the show. He's there to promote the university. All of that. We had guys visit yesterday. I mean, I wasn't following Coach Prime on Instagram yesterday, but I'm assuming he was there for the visits yesterday evening with Draylon Miller and that tackle, McCray. It's okay to feel worried. We have to see where we're going to go now with this. But again, it would be one thing if he's leaving to take the same position. Okay. If that comes out to be the case, that is bad. But I think he's taken the D coordinator position, right? Like, you can't fault a guy from being elevated. And you're right about this, S. Collins. He's got to be hitting the streets. I know Coach Prime has done a little bit of traveling, if I remember correctly, in the bye week. I think a lot of the recruiting stuff that he does is not put on YouTube. But you're right. I think we need to do more of it. Coach Prime and the staff as a whole, everybody needs to be hitting the road a lot more, especially during this time, not having to prepare for a bowl game or anything like that. Vacationing saying Nick is a crucial piece, but he isn't ready to be a DC. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. I have no idea how he'll call a defense. I think that this is his first DC position, if I remember correctly. I mean, he's only 33, 34 years old, right? Yep. Ties to Georgia, the Fran Brown ties. They weren't on the Georgia staff together, but they have that Georgia Kirby Smart connection, if I remember correctly. CU's in good hands. Everybody can recruit. Yes and yes, but not everybody can recruit right now on our staff like Nick Williams. And again, we can't really judge this staff yet until we get past signing day on what this class turns out to be. But man, Nick Williams was responsible for, over half of our commits right now. It's a big deal. It's a gut punch, but he's got to do what he's got to do, to take that next step in his career. He absolutely should do that. And now we got to go find another stud recruiter, a guy that can coach edge. Maybe Sal moves over to coaching. I don't know how any of this works out. I don't know if Coach Sapp has coached edges before. I'll have to ask Coach Hayes that because he probably knows. But we gotta move on to Ralphie 7. Oh man, yo Creo. Oh man, you guys are cracking me up. Can O'Boyle go ahead and leave? Good grief, yes. I'm waiting. Like dnvr said, the bad news is going to happen first, then the good news, and we'll see what we have. But this is going to be a day where we probably just feel like we're in limbo right now, Buffs Nation. But who do you want? Is there anybody that you would like us to target coaching the edges or strong recruiters that we should bring in here? I just don't understand that already instability. You need everybody to buy in unless it's a huge amount of money difference. Syracuse, New York weather sucks. It absolutely sucks. But again, with him being elevated, if it is a DC position, he's going to make significantly more money than what he's making as a position coach. So this is instability that you deal with getting to that top level of college football. You're going to have your assistants going elsewhere to get elevated. And now we need to go find some other guys that we can poach from better programs. It's just the circle of life in this business, everybody. Van Wells got beat a lot this year. Yeah, I'll need to see, who else we bring in at the center position. Again, we're gonna have a brand new starting five, and it can't get any worse. That's just my um, perspective on it all. Fans complained all year. Well, here you go. Complained about what specifically? Ben Wells was all right. I thought Zelinskis and Bailey were the best. Interesting. At the end of the day, none of them were great. Yeah, with Van Wells, it's like I wish he could have stayed here, been developed more. Would have been ideal if he was a backup this next year. Yes. Yes. Coach Prime wants his guys to get elevated. This is a success. This is a success for Nick Williams. Again, Tim Batch, yes. Like our class isn't big right now, but you can't judge it and say they don't care about recruiting until we see exactly how the results are, once that clock strikes zero. If we still have 8 guys coming over here and getting nobody of, any reputation in the transfer portal, I agree. But I will say, to your point, like it is weird that we don't have more, I guess, commits, right? Like that's totally fair. Would I have been expecting Charles Kelly to be responsible for some more of these guys? Sure. Tim Brewster, he was another guy that was brought in for that purpose of recruiting. We never got a tight end even committed here outside of Zico, who then left. So those are fair criticisms. But again, to say they don't care about recruiting like that, I mean, we got to wait to see what the results are. Again, most of the high school guys that we got last year came right on signing day. So we'll know here in about 3 weeks where the time is being spent. People fail to realize this happens on every team every year. Yes. And a lot of Buffs fans, we're not used to this because our coaches suck for the most part. A lot of times they're coming up here and they've been elevated for the first time. This is their elevation and it just doesn't work out. The recent exception to all this has been the guys that were on Mel Tucker's staff, or like Darren Cheverini. He had worked here for most of his career, was OC. That didn't work out. He ended up leaving. I don't even know if it's an exception, though, because then he was wide receivers coach or co-offensive coordinator at UCLA. I forget. And now he's a head coach of a JUCO. Congratulations to him, by the way. Undefeated season there in California. But CU hasn't exactly had their assistants poached for, other schools very often. That's just really what it is. I just simply stated it's a natural progression for good coaches. Absolutely. I wish we could have retained him, but it is what it is. David, what did Van Wells do last year? You're talking about this year? I mean, he blocked for us and he probably had the least amount of penalties. That's just my guess. Um, I need to go back and look, but I don't remember him being as heavily penalized as our other offensive linemen. But again, he was the best of a terrible bunch. So would I have liked to see him return to be a backup? Yes. But at the end of the day, I kind of just feel indifferent about it. It is what it is. But yeah, like right now, again, Yo Creo's bringing this up. None of these guys that we have on the staff really have been really responsible for getting a lot of early commits, you know? And again, we can't judge this Yo Creo until after signing day happens. But similar to, what was his name? To what Tim Batch was saying, I mean, the signs aren't looking great right now, but we can't judge it until we see how this class turns out. But again, congratulations to Nick Williams. Coaches don't leave after 1 year. They do if they're promoted. When it's you for a job, like this is what I don't get. If okay, coaches don't leave after 1 year for like the same position. I agree with that. Okay, but if he's getting promoted, which is what everybody's saying, he's going to be taking a DC role. That is not the truth. He better have a hell of a plan, though. Absolutely right. We'll see how we react here. Prime needs to be in Colorado, not in Dallas, hanging with the Cowboys. Good lord, he can spend a day or two in Dallas. David talks bus. Tim Batch, I'm just curious. Like, were you excited about the hire of Coach Prime, or were you not? And like this, the Amazon promotion, the TV promotion, the show business, like that is part of what you get. But nonetheless, this really, really sucks. DJ Promo, you're absolutely right. This blows. Alfaru, can Warren Sapp replace him, especially on the recruiting side? I mean, that's my hope. My hope is that Warren Sapp is one of the strongest recruiters on this staff right now. But I was expecting Nick Williams to stay and then Warren Sapp to be like right under there. So I don't know. We're about to see, how great of a recruiter Warren Sapp is because we have to keep these guys that are committed here. We absolutely have to keep them. I think Warren Sapp is definitely going to be part of these pitches, getting these guys from Georgia, Brandon Davis Swain as well from Michigan, to stay committed here, then to eventually sign their national letter of intent. We're about to see how good of a recruiter he is. We are about to see it, Alfaru, within the next few weeks. No doubt. Fake fans on panic. Well, I do think it's totally reasonable to be concerned. I mean, when I posted my post earlier today, I said, hey, like, this is highly concerning. This sucks because this guy's responsible for half our recruiting class, over half our recruiting class right now. We're about to see. Oh, man. Hey, never, never get too into this where it's affecting your health, man. Take care of yourself, Justin Black. Again, go outside. It's a beautiful day. There's other wonderful college football games going on today. Congratulations to the Huskies and the Longhorns. We'll see how this Georgia Alabama game turns out. Promoting himself to the Suns is not why he was hired at CU. All I'm going to say is I think that was a big part of him coming here, that he was going to do that, and we're totally okay with him doing that. Like, Prime's going to be Prime. Like, where we I don't know, man. Again, we'll see what happens. we'll see what happens. And right now, we got to see what the results are going to be with recruiting. We're going to see if we were able to recover from this in 3 weeks or not. We're about to see. I mean, the transfer portal opens on Monday, right? It's going to get fun. You don't be badmouthing New York weather. Man, I'll never live in the East Coast. No, I do not want to deal with that kind of weather. No way. No, sir. Yeah, I like Van Wells. Good kid, but obviously the results were terrible this year. So for the whole offensive line, so I'm not going to feel too bad about anybody leaving and not coming back to ideally what my hope is to be a backup instead of a starter. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. I apologize that this was such a short stream, but I will be back probably tomorrow. We'll see how all this goes. But appreciate your thoughts, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. I appreciate you putting your thoughts in the comments, us having a wonderful discussion about this. I love doing this. So, again, we're about to find out in 3 weeks how this whole thing goes. We recruited great last year. I think we're going to have another really solid class right now. But if we end up not, you guys in the comments, you guys got your receipts. We'll see where we go from here. So until next time, guys, appreciate you guys as always. Sco Buffs.